Health of ancient Americans 3,000 years ago. The natural lifestyle modern people should learn from. Have you ever imagined what it would be like if we could travel back to America 3,000 years ago? A time with no diabetes, no obesity, no cancer, no medications, no hospitals, yet people were far healthier than most of us today. Elderly men and women could walk miles, hunt, fish, gather food, and live their daily lives without back pain, joint degeneration, or high blood pressure. So what gave them that extraordinary strength? Today, we're going to uncover the mystery. When we look back at human history, there's one period that continues to amaze modern scientists. Around 3,000 years ago, when ancient American communities lived across North and South America. No hospitals, no pharmaceuticals, no technology, no doctors, yet they possessed a natural level of health that even today is well-equipped societies struggle to achieve. People in their 50s and 60s could still walk long distances, climb mountains, hunt, paddle canoes, and work all day without chronic pain, high blood pressure, diabetes, or most of the modern diseases we consider inevitable. This raises a big question. How could an ancient society, living in harsh conditions, maintain such remarkable health? And what can we people living in an industrialized, technology-driven world learn from their natural way of life? Archaeological discoveries, anthropological studies, and bone structure analyses have revealed fascinating insights from their completely natural diet to their daily movement patterns, their mental resilience, their sleep habits, and their deep connection with nature. Each of these factors build a foundation for long-lasting health, something we've gradually lost over time. This story takes you back to the ancient Americas, exploring how our ancestors truly lived, and the golden principles we can apply today to improve our modern health. This isn't just a history lesson, it's a journey into rediscovering the natural lifestyle humans were originally meant for. When archaeologists began examining skeletons of ancient Americans who lived 3,000 years ago, one thing stunned them immediately. Their bodies were incredibly robust, thick, dense bones with minimal signs of osteoporosis, little joint degeneration, and almost no arterial plaque. This forced scientists to ask, how did these people stay so healthy in a world without medicine, without supplements, without modern care? The answer begins with the most fundamental part of life: their diet. Natural, simple, unprocessed, and untouched by anything artificial. Ancient Americans had no concept of snacks, sugary treats, or convenience foods. They ate what nature provided: wild game, fish, seasonal vegetables, berries, forest nuts, roots, and medicinal herbs. This completely natural lifestyle protected them from refined sugar, preservatives, industrial oils, and processed foods, the very things driving modern epidemics like obesity, diabetes, high cholesterol, and heart disease. One notable point is that the protein ratio in their diet was very high, yet it came from entirely natural sources. Wild game such as deer, elk, wild boar, bear, bison, and various birds had better fats, were more nutrient-dense, and lacked the accumulated toxins found in modern industrially farmed animals. The balance between protein, natural fats, and fiber-rich vegetables supported a stable digestive system, prevented large blood sugar spikes, and provided a slow, steady release of energy throughout the day. The absence of refined sugar meant their tooth enamel was thick, with little tooth decay, and their jawbones developed robustly from chewing tough, coarse, and naturally fibrous foods. This is why, upon examining the teeth of ancient people, scientists discovered they had far superior dental health compared to modern humans, despite having no toothbrushes or toothpaste. But diet was only one part of the equation. The foundation of their enduring strength was their daily, natural movement, a lifestyle completely lost to modern humans. Each day, they walked from 10 to 20 kilometers, approximately 6 to 12 miles, not as exercise, but simply as a means of survival, hunting, gathering, traversing rough terrain, crossing streams, climbing hills, All these activities created a level of physical exertion far exceeding a 30-minute daily gym session. Their bodies were accustomed to carrying heavy loads, pulling, pushing, climbing, and bracing. These natural, multidirectional, and varied movements built strong skeletal systems, evenly developed muscles, flexible joints, and resilient spines. There were no sofas, no offices, no sitting in one place for hours on end. Consequently, they were almost entirely free from back pain, herniated discs, and joint degeneration, the modern lifestyle diseases linked to our sedentary environments. Their living environment was also a decisive factor. Sunlight provided natural vitamin D, strengthening their bones and immune systems. Water from rivers and streams contained natural minerals free from chemicals, chlorine, or industrial pollutants. The air was clean, unpolluted, without fine particulate matter. These seemingly simple factors made a massive difference in their overall health. Ancient Americans didn't breathe toxic vehicle emissions, absorb chemicals from food, or come into contact with detergents or plastic packaging. Their bodies lived in accordance with the primal design intended by nature. All these points demonstrate that the superior health of ancient Americans wasn't due to innate strength, but rather their living environment and natural survival habits. They were strong because they had to be strong to survive. They had no other choice but to eat clean, move frequently, and live in harmony with the natural world. It was this very lifestyle that created those robust physiques, resilient immune systems, and steadfast mental fortitude that modern humans are now striving to reclaim. When considering the health of ancient Americans 3,000 years ago, we cannot separate them from their environment. Prehistoric America was a vast, rugged, and challenging land. There were no straight roads, no hospitals, no multivitamins or dietary supplements. There was only nature, and humans had to learn to adapt to survive. It was precisely these harsh conditions that forged such a unique physique, resilient, powerful, and almost perfectly synchronized with the rhythms of the earth. In the northern regions, groups living in the year-round freezing cold constantly battled the biting frost. They traveled across ice, hunted seals, pursued caribou, and confronted unexpected snowstorms. The extreme cold demanded a higher metabolic rate to maintain body heat, forcing them into a state of near-constant motion. For them, staying still meant risking frostbite and death. Consequently, the health of these groups was marked by exceptional cold tolerance, endurance, and an incredibly efficient ability to burn energy. They consumed large amounts of naturally sourced fat, and interestingly, this very fat acted as living fuel that enabled their survival without causing the obesity we might assume. On the Central Plains, where massive herds of bison once stretched to the horizon, ancient Americans developed a different physique, agile, powerful, and explosive. Hunting bison was no simple task. It required team coordination, running speed, and the stamina to pursue prey for hours on end. Each hunt was an extreme physical challenge that is difficult for a modern person to even imagine. Thanks to this constant activity, their muscles remained lean and strong. Their cardiovascular systems were robust, and their lungs operated at near-optimal capacity. Notably, they rarely suffered from modern ailments like diabetes, high cholesterol, or obesity because their lifestyle left no room for stagnation. In the Southwest, where arid deserts sprawled, the ancient people faced a completely different set of challenges: scarcity of water and food. The scorching heat forced them to possess a deep understanding of water sources, the optimal times for travel, and methods for conserving energy throughout the day. Life in the desert shaped their bodies to develop a high tolerance for thirst and heat, and the ability to maintain vitality during long journeys under the sun. The harsh heat also necessitated a strong circulatory system and a diet capable of providing steady energy without relying on excessive calories. Meanwhile, in the dense, rainy forests of the East, ancient Americans adapted with a different kind of strength agility. They climbed trees, paddled canoes, navigated thick undergrowth, built wooden shelters, and hunted swift, small game. The ever-changing environment demanded quick reflexes, sharp observation skills, and a highly responsive nervous system. These were essential skills for avoiding predators, finding food, and ensuring the tribe's safety. Regardless of their region, a common thread united them: harmony with nature. Without machinery for support, health was their most valuable asset, and to preserve that asset, they were compelled to be active every day, not to exercise, but to survive. Their bodies were in a natural state of constant activity, walking dozens of kilometers, carrying heavy loads, building fires, chopping wood, gathering plants, weathering the elements, and occasionally confronting wild animals. This lifestyle forged what we might today call superhuman level of fitness. It is fascinating that anthropologists note most chronic diseases plaguing modern humans, from arthritis and heart disease to obesity and stress, were remarkably rare in the skeletal remains of ancient Americans. This doesn't mean they were perfect, as they still faced injuries, accidents, and occasional malnutrition, but their highly active lifestyle and natural diet allowed their biological systems to function almost ideally. The harsh environment didn't just test them, it forged their strength. It was within these challenges that the health of ancient Americans was honed into a standard that modern humans have largely lost. When examining the remarkable health of ancient Americans 3,000 years ago, we cannot overlook the most critical factor: their diet. Food wasn't just an energy source. It was the foundation for their bodies to operate, recover, hunt, migrate, and survive. The interesting paradox is that while they had no concepts like clean, organic, or healthy food as we do today, everything they consumed was natural, unprocessed, and perfectly aligned with human biological needs. Their food sources varied by region, but the single greatest commonality was this: everything came directly from nature, unrefined, with no added sugar, fried oils, or preservatives. This fundamental fact is what created that enduring, robust health that modern humans can often only dream of. In the ancient Far North, people consumed large amounts of animal fat, particularly from fish, seal, and caribou. These fat sources were rich in omega-3 south, which supported cardiovascular health, reduced inflammation, and sustained energy in the frigid environment. They didn't fear fat, they needed it. Their bodies were adapted to burn fat for fuel and metabolic state. Modern people often try to achieve through diets like keto or intermittent fasting. Thanks to this efficient fat metabolism, conditions like obesity and diabetes were virtually non-existent. On the bison hunting plains, their diet was rich in protein and lean meat. A single bison could provide meat for an entire tribe for days. These ancient people learned to dry and smoke meat, creating a preserved energy reserve for long journeys. They also ate organ meats, which are far more densely packed with vitamins and minerals than muscle meat. While organ meat is often avoided today, for them, it was a true superfood. As a result, they rarely suffered from the micronutrient deficiencies common today. Despite having no dietary supplements, in the eastern woodlands, diets were diverse with fruits, berries, wild greens, nuts, roots, and meat from small game. Living amidst lush nature, they had ample access to plants rich in antioxidants. Wild berries like blueberries, blackberries, and chokeberries contain extremely high levels of natural vitamins, something we now pay a premium for in supermarkets. Furthermore, wild tubers provided natural, complex carbohydrates, giving them steady, sustained energy without the blood sugar spikes caused by modern refined starches. In the southwestern deserts, the ancient inhabitants cultivated corn, beans, and squash, a trio known as the Three Sisters. These crops complemented each other nutritionally. Corn provided carbohydrates, beans provided plant-based protein, and squash offered vitamins, fiber, and minerals. They were resilient farmers who understood planting cycles and food preservation to survive arid months. Their food wasn't abundant in excess, but it was always harmonious and optimized for survival. Another critical point is that ancient Americans had no concept of refined sugar. If they craved sweetness, their only options were wild fruits or honey, which were rare and precious. No sugar meant no obesity, no type 2 diabetes, and no chronic inflammation diseases that are rampant in the modern world. There was no fast food, no fried snacks, no soda, no processed chips, no refined white flour. Their bodies were never forced to process the kinds of foods modern humans consume daily. Their most intriguing secret was eating seasonally and in sync with nature. When a season provided a certain food, they ate it. When that season passed, they moved on to another food source. This biological rhythm allowed their bodies to find balance naturally. Today, with refrigerators and supermarkets, we eat strawberries and mangoes year-round. But our bodies are actually designed to vary nutrition with the seasons, just as our ancestors did. Finally, we must consider how they consumed food. Ancient Americans didn't remain sedentary after eating, nor did they typically overeat in a single sitting. They ate when they found food and were almost immediately active again afterward. It was this powerful combination of constant movement and whole, natural foods that maintained their strong digestive systems and kept them largely free from gut-related diseases. Looking at their diet, we understand a simple yet profound truth. Food doesn't just feed the body, it shapes the health of an entire culture. And ancient Americans inadvertently lived by the optimal nutritional science that humanity is only now beginning to rediscover. Reflecting on the health and lifestyle of ancient Americans 3,000 years ago, we see something remarkable. They weren't healthy by luck, but by the simplicity and natural order of their daily choices. They ate what the earth provided, moved out of necessity for survival, slept with the sun's rhythm, and lived closely with their community. Without modern medicine, they maintained strong, resilient bodies with minimal disease. Thanks to their harmony with nature, this shows us that sometimes the very comforts of modern life cause us to lose touch with our bodies in our inherent natural state. In our lives today, it's easy to get caught up in work, stress, fast food, prolonged sitting, minimal movement, and over-reliance on technology. But the lesson from our ancestors isn't distant. It reminds us that health doesn't come from complexity, but from small, consistent, and enduring habits. From them, we learn that health isn't a distant goal, but the result of how we live each day. A healthier meal, a longer walk, a deeper night's sleep, these are all small pieces that build a healthy body and a peaceful mind. The profound takeaway and how to apply it today, the core lesson. Live more simply, more naturally, and listen to your body more closely. Actionable steps. Eat whole foods, choose original, unprocessed ingredients, and reduce ready-made meals. Move naturally daily. Dedicate 20 to 30 minutes to natural movement, walking, stretching, gardening, taking the stairs. Reduce stress. Practice deep breathing, light meditation, or unplug from technology 1 to 2 hours before bed. Sleep right. Prioritize sleep and align with your natural circadian rhythm. Nurture connections. Maintain strong bonds with family and friends to foster mental and emotional strength. What's one ancient habit you could start applying today to feel healthier? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective and learn from each other. If you enjoyed this and want more helpful content on health and vibrant living, please subscribe to Everyday Vital Path. Your support motivates us to create more high-quality videos for you. Thank you so much.